Hi, I'm Brandon, alcoholic and addict in recovery, and today we're back to reading a little bit from The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer, and we're going to look at chapter 5 today. So, the last couple of days, we've established that our conscious experience is actually independent of our thoughts and emotions. But it doesn't always seem that way because you can get so absorbed in your thoughts and emotions that it's kind of like watching a movie. So it seems like your consciousness is exactly the same as your thoughts and emotions. And we talked about the importance of pulling back from that, creating space between your thoughts and emotions and your consciousness so that you don't identify with them as much and that you're getting more toward experiencing the purity of just awareness. So today we're moving on to chapter 5 to talk a little bit about inner energy. And I'm going to read a paragraph from page 42 of the book to look little bit further at this. So on page 42, he says, creating thoughts, holding on to thoughts, recalling thoughts, generating emotions, controlling emotions, and disciplining powerful inner drives all require a tremendous expenditure of energy. Where does all this energy come from? Why is the energy there sometimes and at other times you feel completely drained? Have you ever noticed that when you're mentally or emotionally drained, food doesn't help that much? Conversely, if you look at the times in your life when you were in love or excited and inspired by something, you were so filled with energy that you didn't even want to eat. This energy we're discussing does not come from the calories your body burns or from food. There is a source of energy you can draw upon from inside. It is distinct from the outer energy source. So he's talking about the energy that is, of course, the body needs food to create energy to keep going and to do its normal thing. And if you don't have good, solid nutrition, if you're not eating on a normal basis, you're not going to have certain types of energy. But he's really talking about this mental energy that seems to ebb and flow dependent on the way we react to situations in the world around us. So he goes on to talk about this a little bit more, where he says, think about if you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, or you're having trouble with a spouse, for example, and something happens that you either break up with this person or you're separated and you're very depressed and you're just feeling terrible, and this goes on for days and weeks, and you just don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to do anything, you don't want to see anybody, and then one day the phone rings and it's that person, and they're saying that they realize they made a mistake, they want to get back together, they're sorry. All of a sudden your energy level, it's back up again, um, and you get this source of energy that's starting to come back just because of something that happened outside of you. And so what he's doing in this chapter is examining, okay, why is that? And so what he says about it is, what you'll see if you watch carefully is that you have a phenomenal amount of energy inside of you. It doesn't come from food and it doesn't come from sleep. The energy is always available to you. At any moment, you can draw upon it. It just wells up and fills you from inside. When you're filled with this energy, you feel like you could take on the world. When it's flowing strongly, you actually feel it coursing through you in waves. It gushes up spontaneously from deep inside and restores and replenishes and recharges you. So we get to the point where I think this is especially for alcoholics and addicts in the next paragraph. He says, the only reason you don't feel this energy all the time is because you block it. You block it by closing your heart, by closing your mind, and by pulling yourself into a restrictive space inside. This closes you off from all energy. When you close your heart and close your mind, you hide in the darkness within you. There is no light, there is no energy, there is nothing flowing. The energy is still there, but it can't get in. This reminded me of isolation and selfish action. So when I'm in my addiction, when I am really, really in the depths of addiction, you know, I'm isolating from other people. I'm operating on self-will. I am being selfish in my actions. And that is blocking my ability to get some of this energy that he's talking about. On the other hand, when I'm in recovery, I learn that two of the most important things for me are fellowship with other recovering alcoholics and addicts and helping other recovering alcoholics and addicts and anybody in life. And when I am surrounding myself with others and helping others and avoiding these selfish and self-centered motivations, then all of a sudden I can feel this energy flowing much more. Excuse me. Still recovering from a bad night's sleep a couple nights ago. So it's very important for us to realize that what we do and the way that we react to the world around us is directly related to how much of this energy is available to us. So he also goes on to discuss how our energy levels can decrease when we get upset with other people or when we have resentments. He calls this closing the heart center. So what he says is, when you close your heart center, energy can't flow in. When energy can't flow in, there's darkness. Depending upon how closed you are, you either feel tremendous disturbance or overwhelming lethargy. Often people fluctuate between these two states. If you then find out that your loved one didn't do anything wrong, or if they apologize to your satisfaction, your heart opens again. With this opening, you get filled with energy and the love starts flowing again. And we go a step further as recovering alcoholics and addicts. And we often say, we don't even need to wait for the other person to apologize because usually there's something for us to apologize for. So we start this process, get this love flowing again by getting out of our heads and stop blaming other people, start looking for our part in the situation and go and take action on that. So that's the kind of thing that found very similar between what he's saying here and what we learn in our 12-step programs is that, forming resentments can be detrimental to the way that we feel and the way that we react to the world around us. So he continues by discussing the importance of staying open within to allow the energy flow to continue unabated. And this is something we have to practice by changing the way we view and react to the world around us. So by embracing the world and staying open and accepting it as it is, Singer says we will reach our ideal state. So he says, what you'll find is that the only thing you really want from life is to feel enthusiasm, joy, and love. If you can feel that all the time, then who cares what happens outside? If you can always feel up, if you can always feel excited about the experience of the moment, then it doesn't make any difference what the experience is. No matter what it is, it's beautiful when you feel that way inside. So you learn to stay open no matter what happens. If you do, you get for free what everyone else is struggling for: love, enthusiasm, excitement, and energy. You simply realize that defining what you need in order to stay open actually ends up limiting you. If you make lists of how the world must be for you to open, you have limited your openness to those conditions. Better to be open no matter what. So he says that it's quite simple to stay open no matter what. As a person in recovery, you're probably going to recognize some of the ideas that I'm about to read. He says, how you learn to stay open is up to you. The ultimate trick is to not close. If you don't close, you will have learned to stay open. Do not let anything that happens in life be important enough that you're willing to close your heart over it. When your heart starts to close, just say, no, I'm not going to close. I'm going to relax. I'm going to let this situation take place and be there with it. Honor and respect the situation and deal with it. By all means, deal with it. Do the best you can, but deal with it with openness. Deal with it with excitement and enthusiasm. No matter what it is, just let it be the sport of the day. In time, you will find that you forget how to close. So, being open to what happens in life, not trying to change it, and ultimately letting go of our need. And for alcoholics and addicts, we love putting things in black and white categories, and letting go of our need to put life into categories like I like this and I don't like this. We love doing this. We thrive on it, and it's so important for us to kick that habit. So important for us to kick that habit. He closes by saying, as long as you are defining what you like and what you don't like, you will open and close. You are actually defining your limits. You are allowing your mind to create triggers that open and close you. Let go of that. Dare to be different. Enjoy all of life. So this is going back to the idea that, especially as alcoholics and addicts, we don't want to place conditions on anything in life. We don't want to say, okay, well, I will stay sober if this happens, or I will stay sober if such and such occurs. You want to you want to just do things because they're the right things to do, and not because they have particular results that you either like or don't like. The same time, don't say things like, well, this is great, sobriety's great, I'm going to stay sober as long as it's like this, because guess what, life is going to suck sometimes. And as soon as that condition doesn't get met, then you find yourself closing off, and all of a sudden your motivation to stay sober starts to decrease. And so there's a lot we could take and talk about from this, but the important aspect of it for everybody to remember is that we've got to accept life as it is around us, and then react to it with openness, with love and enthusiasm, no matter what life throws at us. And that's where we get access to this source of energy that he's talking about here, no matter what life throws at us. And that is going to be truly helpful to us in recovery. And a lot of what we learn in recovery-based programs is teaching us how to focus less on categorizing the world into things we want and don't want, and really how to change our reaction so that we are more open to accepting things the way they are. Hope you have a good rest of the day, and I will be back here tomorrow with more.